Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing well. Today I'm going to talk about the FM Drum, which is a machine in the Digitone 2. As usual, I'm going to start off with a preset, and I made all these voices with the FM Drum. And this one's a little bit weird, well, I had fun making it, so here we go. All right, so there you go. So let me go through some of these drums so you hear them a little more clearly. The snare sounded weirder to me in the mix than I remembered it, but here we go. So let's just look at these guys. So we got our kick, snare. Interesting. All right, and the hi-hat. The hi-hat I kind of like. I have to admit, this is a clap. And then I did this crazy, like, it sounded to me like people talking. That's why I kept it. Because when you played it at certain moments, it sounded like somebody trying to say something. So that's what I did. And then this was the bass with an arp on it. That was just a tone that I made. And then this guy just was kind of a little bit of a patty kind of thing. And then I just chopped it up with just gated it with one of the LFOs. All right, so let's go through and talk about FM Drum. So here we go. So this guy's got 4 pages, so he's kind of a beast. So here we go. I'll go through. The first thing I want to do is actually jump to the 3rd and 4th pages of this guy to show you something really quick. Because if you're going to make percussion, one of the first things you can do is on page 3, you can turn down what's called the body volume, which is basically now you're not going to hear anything. And then on the 4th page, in the same position, you have the transient volume. So I'll turn that all the way up. So I just want you to hear, like, there's a wave table. It's got a lot of resolution. And when I go through these, you can hear. Okay, so there's a lot of different tones, a lot of different drums that you can like grab. So for me, like that's one of the ways I start like making something is I start off with picking the transient that I want, and then you can go back and add the body back in to kind of give it some color, just to give it some like FM kind of craziness or whatever. So I wanted to show you that real quick, and then let's go back to the top and start going through these. All right, so first thing is not everything on this page does something right when you start using it. So that's one thing to know. So let me, well, actually I turned the body volume off, so let me turn that back up. There we go. All right, so tune obviously does something. You're going to hear that. But the next one over is your sweep timing. And, whoops, I missed the wrong one there. All right, so we got this guy. The sweep timing, when you turn that up, you're not going to hear anything until you give it some sweep. So the sweep is the thing that kind of makes it so you're getting tone in there, and then the timing does something with it. So you can have that like a little zap sound. All right, and then algorithm. Okay, so this is another one that you're not really going to hear much of a difference yet, but there's 7 different algorithms that you have. Then you have a wave shape for the carrier, is this one. And so let's listen to him. Let me turn this off so you can really hear. It's a nice wavetable here with lots of great, tones you can use. And then this next one you're not going to hear because this is the waveform for the A and B operator. So this is a 2 operator FM. So you have A and B, and then you have a carrier. And then the diagram in the upper right is showing you how this is configured. And I'm going to point out feedback next, because when you turn feedback up, just like the one previous, you're not going to hear anything because you haven't yet given B some volume. How do I know that it's actually operator B? Because in that diagram, in the very upper right, there's a little loop symbol that shows that that's the operator that's going to get feedback. And if I go to the next algorithm 2, there's 2 loops. There's one on A and B, so they're both getting feedback. So, and there's a lot of algorithms. So, but that's just a difference between those 2 that I wanted to point out. Okay, so you won't hear those, so we're going to come back to those. But on fold, you will hear something, because what this does is adds wave folding to the carrier wave. So you're definitely going to start hearing that guy. Okay, and then let's give it a more interesting waveform. We'll get lots of harmonics. So you can really start to get into those ranges where you can start making hats and cymbals with that. So let's go to the second page. And in the second page, this is all about setting how much and the ratios for the operators A and B. So I'm going to give each of these some mod so we can hear them. Actually, I'm going to leave B off. So you're going to hear that. Now let's go back to page 1. And now when we change the wave shape, you're hearing that come through that. Okay. Feedback's still not doing anything, so I'll turn it off, but I'm going to give level operator B something to work with. So now we still get this. And now let's get some feedback. So we got that. Oh, it's so fun to find, I don't know, I love to make drones, so just hearing all sorts of moments. Let's look at some of the different algorithms maybe with this hooked up, just to hear what it sounds like. Give it a little bit of fold. Okay, so pretty good variance there. And depending on what you're doing, obviously you're going to get more and more out of that. So second page now, we have the envelopes, which are in the middle, which control the volume of how much of the mod is being applied to that. Oops, I hit a button there. Pattern. This one. Oh, wait. Sorry, pattern 5. There we go. Back to where we were. So I'm going to change the volume. That's all the way up. Let me turn B all the way down. So we're only getting one of them. So it's kind of another way to control the level, is both on this first one, which is how much mod you have. And that at 0, we're not going to hear anything. But go all the way up. And this controls the level. And then if I leave it at 0, I can add in, so I can get, let's do that for this guy too. Do something that's a little atonal, just to, okay. And then these are the ratios. So these are really high resolution. There we go. Definitely doing some FM. There we go. So one thing about the FM ratios is if you hold function and turn the encoders, they'll kind of lock to different values for you. So if I want to get to 3, for example, that's really easy. And if I want to get to something like 1, and now it'll be a little less atonal and might be more musical. Depends on what you're building, right? Let's leave that guy there. Okay, so that's the second page, and that's just to set up all your operator ratios and the envelopes, and then also how much they're modulating the carrier. All right, so the third page is actually to set up the level for body, which we played with earlier. So you can turn that all the way off. You have phase for the carrier. This is going to be hard to hear. Let me clear this out because I'm just going to go in and so I just kind of reset everything. So I'm just doing this. And I'm just going to give this a wave that we can hear easily. Okay, so now, so we did volume, right? But the next one, you can hear that changing. This is setting the phase of the carrier, and it's like a little piece of the wave is what this icon is trying to show, or the symbol's trying to show. So the lower left is like the start of the wave, and then this is like towards the midpoint or mid-high point. It kind of goes by elevation. So if you go all the way to the top, it's saying take the highest point, and that's where it's going to start the phase. And then if you go all the way to the end, you'll get free running phase. So every time you press it, you might get a slightly different tone. All right, so the next one is for how long this plays. So you can make something very plucky. And just so you know, hold is done first and then the decay. So if you have hold on nothing, you're just going to be, setting how long you want the decay to be. If you add some hold, it'll be a little longer. And if you go all the way up, it'll be as long as you hold the note. It'll actually have a sustain phase, and then it'll let off and get the decay. So if we keep this, we'll keep it in the middle just to have something to listen to. All right, so let's keep going. We have noise ring modulation. So what this does is this takes the noise and applies it to the carrier. And so the way to hear that is it's almost, let me come back to that one because I have to go to the next page to turn on noise. But this one we'll come back to too. But what this one does is it just makes it so the noise is using the same random number seed. So it just is consistent. So it just locks it so that it always sounds the same versus it floating to different sounds. So let's keep that off for now. And that's this page. The fourth page is the noise and the transient. Remember, this is where we were playing around with the transient. Which, by the way, it's kind of cool to add a really short transient onto the front of something. Sometimes you'll have an ARP or something, and a really short transient, can make it sound cool. And the body of it is what carries the actual note that you hear. All right, so let's. These were different transients. We talked about that. This is the length, and just like in the other one, this is the hold. Now, one difference here is that even if you're on note, let me turn off the body so you can hear this. So if I pick a transient, even something like that, I have this on note, but when I hold it, you're not going to get a sustain, at least not that I can hear. Now, if you add noise in here, that's where it has an effect, right? So, all these things are obviously very interrelated. So now if I change this hold down here, now you get the fade out. Okay? So noise. So you have noise, and then this filter affects both. This is a bass width filter. That affects the noise and also it affects the transient too. So that's a good thing to keep in mind. Okay, so let's turn this guy off. Give ourselves some noise. Let's make it so let's do the hold on the noise, and let's do something like that. This granularity of the noise grain, makes it so you can kind of make it like that, even sparser, and then you can obviously still pitch that wherever you, or filter that wherever you want to. So let's leave it here. Let's leave it fairly loud because I want to go back up to show you So you hear how that sounds different? It may not sound that different when I turn this on. Now they sound exactly the same. Now the noise ring modulation is almost a way to get even finer control of the tones that you get from the noise. So when I've played with this, what I've noticed is that the carrier wave affects the noise. So if I have a really low carrier, for example, let me actually, oh, I thought I had that so it was going to last longer. I'm confused why that's not holding. Is it because of, huh, I had that earlier. Is it because I have to have this all the way up? Huh, that's strange. I thought that, I'll have to go back and watch my own video and see. I might have found a bug. Because that should, when you hold that, I'm pretty sure that should, oh, aha, I did find what it was. So I did not know this. Obviously I didn't know it. But so when you have the noise ring modulation, so that is using this. Yeah. So that's cool. Okay, now I get why that's there, because so now you can use that to control it, and you get, so there we go. So that's giving me completely different tones, and I can use the pitch to get even more. So if I go way down, yeah, like that. So there you can hear the waveform, and it's actually, so this must be that the carrier is being applied to, that the carrier is the noise actually, and the carrier is being applied to it, is what that sounds like to me. But I'll have to look that up or ask. All right, so just to quickly review, page number 1 is kind of the common things that you're going to get to, and setting the algorithm. This one we're not going to get much unless I give it some juice on these guys. Actually, I don't. Let's see. Oh, that's why I got this cranked up. Okay, there we go. So now I can bring the body back in. Oh, that's right, because I set my pitch to be something crazy. Okay, so we got our... All right, so I think I went through everything. So basically the first page is kind of like the common things that you want to change. And the second page is really focused on the 2 operators and how much modulation they're applying to the carrier. The third page is to control the body volume, and then also the kind of envelope of the body. And then the last page is really kind of the noise modeling and transient modeling environment. And that also has its own level. So when you bring all those together, I hope you get a sense of just how much breadth, that you can create with this thing, because it's pretty crazy. All right, so I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions or comments or anything, just you know how to just put it in the comments. So thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Bye.